Hello fans, how are you? Today we will talk about Barcelona and Real Betis. But first leave your like and subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot, thanks. Goals from Christensen, Lewandowski, Rafinha. And an own goal on an emotional night at Spotify Camp Nou for so many reasons. FC Barcelona have moved even closer still to the league title, after they saw off Real Betis with relative comfort on Saturday at Spotify Camp Nou. Real Madrid had already beaten Almeria earlier in the day, so there was no hope of extending their lead in La Liga. But it remains at 11 points and with just 6 more games to play. The Catalans need to win half of those to clinch the title mathematically. The exceptional crowd of 88,530 was also treated to the 24th clean sheet of the league season, which sets a brand new club record. 3 of the 4 goals came in a first half, in which Barca were simply too good for the Andalusians, especially after the latter had been reduced to 10 men. The game itself was as good as over, but there was plenty of emotion still in store, with a rousing farewell for an opposing player, a very welcome returnee, and the entry of the youngest Barca debutant of all time. It hadn't rained on the Catalan capital for weeks, and that was becoming an extremely serious problem for the city's water supply. So the fact the game was played under a downpour was very welcome indeed. With just 2 in the last 4 games, it hasn't exactly been raining goals at Barca of late either. So it was also extremely refreshing to see all that change in a simply stellar first half. Andreas Christensen marked his return from injury by opening the scoring, having moved up for a corner. The Dane was ideally positioned for Rafinha to brilliantly pick him out on the head. And with a quarter of an hour gone, Barca were into a well-deserved lead. The Blaugrana cause was boosted when visiting player Edgar Gonzalez, who had only been on as a substitute for 20 minutes, managed to get himself booked a second time and was thus eliminated from the equation. With Betis in disarray, Robert Lewandowski was able to add to his tally of 19 goals. Later in the game, the woodwork denied the Polish striker's clear chance to add a second, and put a bit of distance between himself and Karim Benzema, who is staring over his shoulder in the Pichichi race after scoring 3 earlier in the day. And although Rafinha's lovely conversion of a Sergio Busquets assist was originally disallowed for offside, a long VAR review eventually decided his position had been fine. Barca were in cruise mode, 3-0 up at halftime and with the opposition depleted to 10 men. This game already looked more than won. The second ovation was for a man making his long-awaited return. Following a 3-month absence through injury, Ousmane Dembele was back in action, and looking just as sharp and nimble as ever in his 20 or so minutes on the pitch. And the third ovation was for 15-year-old Lamine Yamal, who came on to become the youngest player ever to play for Barca in La Liga. And within moments of coming on, he very nearly became the youngest goalscorer too, and also set up a beautiful chance for Dembele. What an introduction! In the meantime, Barca had extended their lead when a goalmouth scramble saw Guido Rodriguez's toe guide the ball into his own net. For goals, another clean sheet, and still 11 points clear at the top of the table. Things were already looking more than good before this game, and now they're even better. If you made it this far, please leave your like and subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot.